Euzu billahi mineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's look at the addendum to the 14th word. İza zulziletil ardu zilzaleha. When the earth is shaken with its violent shaking. This surah shows us something absolute. The globe, in its movement and its shaking, is acting under a command. It is receiving inspiration. It doesn't just shake on its own. It trembles under orders. Regarding this current earthquake, answers to 6 or 7 small questions came to my heart. Let's look at that verse again. And the earth throws up its burdens. What does that mean? Later on, it mentions internal revolutions. It means the earth releases the pressure, the energy, the heavy things trapped inside. If it didn't breathe like this, much worse things could happen. And then the verse says, and man cries out, what is the matter with it? Truly, when the earthquake hits, everyone asks this. I asked it too. What is happening right now? On that day, it will declare its news. The earth will tell what everyone has been doing on its back, because your Lord has inspired it. The earthquake is actually God speaking, an actual physical speech. Just as the Quran speaks to all ages, the earthquake gives a lesson to everyone individually. It acts under a command. Now let's look at these questions that came to the heart. First question. Why does the fear and despair continue even after the big quake is over? The physical disaster happens once, but the spiritual torture, the insomnia, the fear of aftershocks, keeps people from entering their homes and destroys their rest. Why does this continue? It is a result of disrespect during the blessed month of Ramadan, specifically during the time of Tarawih prayers, the most precious time of the most blessed month. People were drunk with entertainment instead of turning their hearts to God. This fear punishment is the direct result of that attractive drunken heedlessness. It's a wake-up call to bring people back to their senses. Second question. You might ask, why doesn't this heavenly slap hit the lands of the disbelievers? They commit far worse sins. Why does it hit the poor Muslims? Here is the answer. Small crimes are punished quickly at the local police station. But big crimes, heavy felonies, those are sent to the high courts. The crimes of the disbelievers are so huge that their punishment is postponed to the grand court of the hereafter, to hell. But the believers, our mistakes are smaller, so we get punished and purified right here in this world. Also, there is a matter of gairatullah, God's honor. When a disbeliever rejects religion, it's one thing. But when believers who have the perfect eternal truth of Islam betray their religion and imitate the broken paths of others, it touches God's honor much more deeply. That is why the earth leaves the disbelievers alone for now and gets angry at us. Third question. Why is this a general disaster? It comes from the mistakes of some people, so why does it sweep through the whole country? The answer is a rule. If a disaster is general, it's because the mistake is general. The majority of people effectively participate in the sins of that tyrannical minority, either by actually joining them, by supporting them, or by staying silent and accepting it. Because they agree with it or don't oppose it, they share in the spiritual crime that causes a general disaster. Fourth question. Okay, If this is a punishment for sins, what about the innocent? What about the children who have no sin? How does God's justice allow them to burn in this disaster alongside the sinners? This actually relates to the mystery of destiny, qadar, but let me tell you this much. Be afraid of a trial that doesn't just hit the oppressors, but includes the innocent too. Why? Because this world is an arena of testing. It is a place of struggle. The mystery of the test requires that the truth remains a bit veiled. If the innocent were miraculously saved, if every time a building collapsed, the sinners died but the babies floated safely in the air, then everyone would be forced to believe. Even an enemy of faith like Abu Jahl would have to submit, just like Abu Bakr. The door to spiritual growth would close because there would be no choice. The mystery of the offer of faith would be broken. So wisdom dictates that in this world, the oppressed fall into the disaster alongside the oppressor. But, you ask, where is the mercy for those poor innocents? The answer is beautiful. For them there is a flash of mercy within the anger. Their perishable temporary goods that are destroyed become like alms, sadka, and are returned to them as eternal wealth. And their fleeting temporary lives? They gain the rank of martyrdom. They trade a short, difficult life for an eternal, happy life. Even if they suffer for a few moments or hours under the rubble, that small pain earns them a massive, everlasting profit. It is actually a mercy for them. Fifth question. God is just, merciful, and wise. Why does he use such a massive element like the earth or the wind to punish? Why not give a specific punishment to the specific sinner? How does crashing the whole earth fit with his mercy? Listen, the Creator has given these elements, air, water, earth, huge universal duties. They produce thousands of good results. If you stop the rain because one person might get wet and sick due to their own carelessness, you prevent thousands of good things from happening. That would be doing a massive wrong to prevent a small harm. Some mistakes are so widespread, such a general rebellion against God, that they insult the rights of all creation. They anger the earth itself. To show the ugliness of that massive crime, God commands a massive element to move. He tells the earth, discipline them. This is pure wisdom and justice. Sixth question. The heedless people try to explain this away. They say, oh, the earthquake is just the result of minerals shifting inside the earth, its geological pressure, its natural faults. They look at it as a random, purposeless, natural event. They don't see the spiritual causes or the results. They try to cut the connection to God so people don't wake up. Is there any truth to what they say about it being just nature? The answer? There is absolutely no truth in it other than misguidance. Think about it. The earth changes its shirt every year. Millions of plants and animals are created perfectly. Look at just one fly. It has hundreds of organs. Look at just its wing. That wing is designed with intention, will, and wisdom. If God does not neglect the wing of a single fly, if he doesn't leave it without purpose, do you really think he would leave the massive earth, the cradle and mother of all living things, to wander around aimlessly? Do you think the movements of this planet are outside of his will and control? Impossible. But the Creator uses causes as a veil. He hides his hand behind nature. When he wills an earthquake, he might command a mineral to explode or a fault to move. That mineral moves only by his command. Imagine a man shoots someone with a rifle. If you ignore the shooter and only focus on the gunpowder exploding in the cartridge, saying, "The gunpowder killed him," you are being foolish. You are ignoring the rights of the victim. In the same way, the earth is a sheep, a plane, a servant under God's command. To forget the Lord who commands the sheep and to say it was just nature, simply to put people back to sleep, is the ugliest kind of stupidity. Subhaneke la ilme lena illa ma alamtena inneke ente alimul hakim.